The app is launched from the home screen of user's mobile device. Once the app is loaded, the user is presented with available Bluetooth devices within range, as well as all the devices the user have connected to prior, which are saved under My Devices. Once the connection is established, the user is presented with a control screen. Currently, the heater is in the off mode, so all controls are disabled. From here, the user can turn the heater on in any of the three available modes, set point, variable, or fan, by clicking the corresponding tab above the dial. When set point tab is clicked, the heater begins its heating cycle. The flame icon above the target temperature begins to glow gray, which indicates the self-check phase of the heating cycle. Once self-check is complete, the heater enters the ignition phase of the cycle. The flame icon begins to glow red. User can also click on the flame icon and bring up the bottom sheet containing the sequence of all phases of the current cycle. User can engage the dial or the plus and minus buttons to increase or decrease the target temperature setting. During the current cycle, user is able to switch between the set point and variable modes. In variable mode, instead of the target temperature, the heat output is set between 1 and 7, with 7 being the strongest. Once the ignition phase of the heating cycle is complete, which may take between 3 and 7 minutes, the heater enters into the stable combustion phase of the cycle. The flame icon turns solid red. In the variable mode, the heater will remain in stable combustion phase until it's turned off or a fault occurs. Fan mode controls are identical to variable mode controls, with the exception that no heater cycle phases are indicated, since no heat is produced. When target temperature in set point mode is reached, the heater will enter into the idle phase. Flame icon will switch to solid orange. Idle phase is only applicable to set point mode, because in variable mode, heat is constantly produced at variable outputs, hence the name. When target temperature is once again above the ambient temperature due to a new setting, as in this example, or due to the ambient temperature falling below target, the heater will begin a new cycle, starting with self-check, ignition, and stable combustion until the ambient temperature is brought up to target. While heater was in stable combustion phase of the set point mode, we have deliberately disconnected the fuel pump to trigger a fault. The heater immediately recognizes that the fuel pump is not connected and enters the shutting down phase, as indicated by the glowing gray flame icon. User is alerted to the fault by the vital signs symbol flashing red. By clicking the flashing vital sign symbol, the user is able to navigate to the list of fault codes. In this example, there's only one fault that has interrupted the current burn cycle, code 70, fuel pump open circuit. Upon clicking on the fault code, user is offered troubleshooting solutions to eliminate the fault. At this point, user is able to clear the fault codes and return to the control screen. In this example, the heater is still completing the interrupted cycle and is going through the shutdown phase. Once shutdown is complete, the heater will attempt to start a new burn cycle. During the self-check phase, the ECU will ensure that the fault that caused the interruption in the first place is eliminated, which it is since we reconnected the fuel pump. Once done, the heater will enter the ignition phase once again. By clicking the information icon in the top left corner, the user will bring up the bottom sheet containing the runtime and number of ignitions that the ECU has recorded. Next iteration of this version will contain the heater serial number as well. The hamburger menu in the top right will allow the user to access app-wide settings. In this iteration, only the temperature unit setting is available, where the user can switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Up next is the gear icon in the bottom right corner. This icon will allow the user to disconnect from the Bluetooth device it's currently connected, or to rename the current device. Here we rename it to Demo. When disconnected, the demo will appear again under My Devices for ease of connection next time. When Off tab is clicked, the heater completes the stable combustion phase and enters the shutting down phase. This phase may last up to 5 minutes as the heat exchangers cool down.